Today we have Molly Honflon with Sangoma.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon for everyone all over the place. My name is Molly Honflont. I am located in Denver, but I actually travel all over the US to help all of you guys and your partners. So happy to be here, excited about it. I've got a couple people on the call, which I'm just going to go to the next slide because it makes it easier to kind of see everybody. So this is your Sangoma team. It is a powerhouse team, and we are super excited to be helping you. So today you're going to hear a little bit from me, and then you'll be hearing from Aaron Conahili, who's been with the company for quite some time, very knowledgeable veteran for Sangoma. He's the VP of Strategic Partnerships. And then you'll hear from Jim Christopher. He is my right hand man. He's partner sales executive. You'll also be hearing from him. And then Patrick is your dedicated SE. He is the brains behind all the solutions. And anytime you guys have questions or need anything from a solution standpoint, or you're like, hey, does this fit within this? First and foremost, you'll always reach out to me, but then we can loop in Patrick as well. And then Carrie Witherington, she is our account manager. She helps with all sorts of quoting. Unfortunately, she couldn't be on the call today, but she is my left hand. So we've definitely put a great team together for you guys, and we are very excited to be working with you. So we're going to do a quick kind of overview of Sangoma, and then I'm going to pass it off to Aaron and Jim. I really want them to be able to showcase Sangoma and where we fit, how we fit into all of your guys' opportunities, and really just kind of review all of that. So just a quick who we are. So we are a very stable company. We've been around for, a hot second. We are publicly traded. We've got a massive customer base from, just onesie, twosie users to enterprise accounts. So again, we're happy to help with any solution that you guys have on the forefront. So we do build quite a bit in-house, from engineering to even our own phones, physical phones, all the different apps that you guys will see, it's all built in-house, which also is very valuable in the aspect of you guys can come to us and say, hey, we noticed X, Y, and Z, and we'd really like to, do some kind of improvement. That's something that we can actually take to our R&D team, and they can help. Just a quick overview of what we can do. So we're not just a UCaaS company. We also have managed services. So think of managed SD-WAN, managed internet, all sorts of opportunities that play into that the team is already utilizing, which is fantastic. We're seeing a lot more quotes come in from the team in regards to helping for solutions in regards to managed services. We have the hybrid, the on-cloud, and the on-prem solutions for you guys. So again, anytime you guys think of your phones, Sangoma can definitely help you with that. And then also just where we fit in best: markets, SMB, mid-market, enterprise, industries are anywhere from retail, healthcare, hospitality. We're even starting to get more into SLED. I've got a couple opportunities out there with a couple team members for some state and government, which is great. And then we also have a global presence. So we are seeing a lot of presence on around about 180 countries. So it's really exciting what we've got going here. And the next person who's going to be presenting, sorry, my computer just froze, is going to be Aaron Conahili. And Aaron is just going to do a quick review of some wins and successes. And please, again, put any of your questions in the chat. Aaron, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. All right, yeah, so my name's Aaron Conahili. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships with Sangoma. As Molly said, I've been here for a long time. I think I'll hit my 19th anniversary on March 1st. So my role here is just helping our more strategic partners around the country and focusing on larger, more complex opportunities. Um, I don't know if you want me to go through this whole slide too as well, Molly, or just jump into.
No, you're good. I just wanted to keep that up so that they kind of have
Okay.
a visual of where we can fit in for them.
Sure. Yeah. So we've got a lot of different wins that we can talk about. I think a few that I wanted to highlight in the retail space, we've got a couple really big ones. And I'll name names here. Typically, I don't name drop, but one of our customers, which I think is quite strategic, is a company called Bagel Brands. And you probably know them as Einstein Bagels, Manhattan Bagels, Noah Bagels. They've got roughly 1,200 locations throughout the United States, and what's unique about this, it's a mixture of corporate-owned locations and franchise locations. So franchise is kind of a beast upon itself. What the customer really liked was our ability to come in and create a scalable solution for them, which encompasses the connectivity, so broadband access anywhere in the United States and Canada, and we do it a little bit different for our connectivity. We have the traditional wholesale agreements with all the major LECs and the major cable cos around the country, but we also have the ability to create one-off relationships, right? So we'll go out, and if there's a small mom and pop ILEC or a small cable company, or if it's a new greenfield location and they can only get fixed wireless, we can provide those services across the board. So what we call that is carrier agnostic. And then we provide that in a managed and monitored environment. So all of the connectivity is managed and monitored. The customer gets access to our state-of-the-art AI-driven monitoring tool, so they can go in and see the status of all their circuits and inventory around each location. In addition to that, we're providing a 5G aggregation. So we have a pretty unique product here around 5G, our ability to provide a multi-carrier eSIM. So there's one 5G cradle point type device. It's got an eSIM which has all three carriers on it, and it allows us to kind of fail over across those carriers. If the best one is down, it'll fail over to Verizon and so on and so forth, and then fail back. And we can pull the usage across all three of those vendors. So that was quite unique. We're providing a managed Fortinet firewall at each location, FortiManager in the cloud, PoE switches at each location, Wi-Fi access points. We're doing our new managed PDU, so it's a managed power distribution unit. So it allows us to provide a 6 or 14 port power distribution unit, and plugs everything into it, allows us to reboot things, right? So for those of you who might have done anything in retail, everyone knows that there's really not an IT guy on site, and typically, the first thing that you got to do in a situation of troubleshooting is, hey, let's reboot the device, whether it's the modem or the phone or the device, right? And sometimes that's difficult to do in a retail environment, right? The store manager might not be comfortable unplugging something. They don't know the difference between a modem, a router, and a switch, and so us being able to provide this PDU, we can remotely power cycle things. So that really expedites troubleshooting and getting a customer back up and running. In addition to that, we're providing Wi-Fi access points and just a couple phones per site. And all of that wrapped into one partner, right? One single bill, right? Which is customized. And most importantly, one project manager. So we have one kind of quarterback that quarterbacks the entire installation from soup to nuts for that whole network stack for the broadband, so the network, the voice, and the security. I know we're holding questions to the end, but I don't know if anyone has questions, but we'll keep that one in mind. Another one I wanted to highlight is a pretty big win, and as Molly said, we're kind of a fit for everything as far as verticals. What I like to say is distributed enterprise, lots of locations, small IT team, and that makes us the most competitive, right? There's a ton of UCaaS providers out there. It's kind of hard to differentiate, aside from our fact that we own Asterisk and we own our own proprietary platforms. But when we start looking at our ability to combine this end-to-end solution, it really makes us stand out. So another one I wanted to highlight. It's a public company out of Canada, and what was unique about this one is we provided a hybrid network. So we did a mixture of SD-WAN at the larger locations and IPsec VPNs via Fortinet at the smaller locations. And all that is tied back into our, and I don't think we showed a picture of it, but after the call, we can send out a deck. We actually have our own private MPLS PCI compliant backbone. So all of those locations tie back into our own private backbone utilizing our cloud firewalls. And then kind of the same thing as Bagels, right? We're providing cloud-based firewalling. We're providing Meraki Wi-Fi access points, PoE switches, managed power, and then we have direct connections into Azure and Oracle. And what was unique about that one is that was an RFP that we won. And the RFP was actually calling out for SD-WAN. But what we found after digging deeper was that a lot of these smaller locations, where they wanted and asked for SD-WAN, they only had 2 or 3 people. And they were only paying, $40-$50 for a DSL circuit. And so, going from a $40 DSL circuit to, dual broadband with SD-WAN was going to be a really big cost increase, tenfold. And so our ability to come in and do the VPN instead, we're able to still achieve what they were looking for, but save them some money and make it easier for them to stomach, moving to this next generation network.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Yep.
One of the other wins that Aaron and I actually recently did was for multiple locations for Honey Baked Ham. So they came to us with, smaller physical stores, but we've got them in with managed internet and phones and physical phones and some wireless backup. And one of those things that they came to us was, one of their issues was, hey, we really don't have time to deal with the managed internet. We don't really have an IT team for that. We need somebody to do that. And so we were able to get the pricing very, very close to what it would be for going direct with the carrier. So for instance, it was Spectrum. We were $10 difference, and not saying that's going to happen every time, but it was $10 difference from having, a regular circuit just not managed at all to having a full managed circuit with a $10 difference. And most business owners will say $10 is definitely worth having a managed internet. And, now he's very happy with our services and what we were able to close. So it actually worked out perfect. Aaron came up with the name of Retail in a Box, which has been going great for us and with our partners. So
our retail vertical is very, very strong. We've got customers with upwards of 2,000 locations. And in fact, 9 of our 10 largest customers, the ones that are billing, $300,000 a month and more, are retail, right? And so once we kind of get the network, we can come back in and layer on, the SD-WAN or the Wi-Fi and the phones, right? And then, it just makes it a lot more sticky and a lot easier to manage, right? From the customer standpoint and from our partner standpoint. You don't have to work with 3 different companies, 3 different project managers. Sangoma can do the entire thing. We're good at it, and we've been doing it for a really long time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron. And speaking of different retail spots, Jim's got one that he recently won. So I would love for him to share his experience in all of this and let you guys hear what he's working on.
There you go. Thank you, Molly. Again, my name's Jim Christopher. I've been with Sangoma not as long as Aaron. I've been here a couple of years. Actually started in the phone business, just a little background, in '95 with an Intertel dealer. So certainly understand the voice space, worked at a CLEC and all those different things. So Sangoma is a great place, a great fit. Excited to be here and excited to talk to you guys today. Yeah, definitely want to dovetail kind of off of what Aaron was touching on. And actually, Aaron and I, at the end of the day, you'll work with Aaron, myself, or maybe potentially both of us on opportunities. So excited to talk about one of our recent wins. Aaron, I don't know if I named names here, but we had a Italian pizza restaurant and it kind of touches on what Aaron mentioned. Just over 20 locations, disparate providers, IT provider that was not doing a great job for them, network access provider, a contract coming out, and an aging phone system. So we were able to come in, provide the complete UCaaS solution, network, managed switches, a lot of the products Aaron mentioned, access, 5G, I think we're going to do managed power for them. I know Aaron mentioned that a minute ago. Um, and reasonable sales cycle. It seemed like it was about a 6 month, and it turned into almost $20,000 a month. So great opportunity, great fit for us from a referenceability standpoint. And we were able to provide the end-to-end solution. Wanted to touch on another thing, and Aaron did mention this, where we really shine. And again, we can do standalone UCaaS opportunities all day long, but where we really shine is those customers that want that single point. They want the end-to-end solution. They want access backup, all the different services. And that fits really well into the distributed enterprise, i.e. the retail locations, but it also fits really well into the SMB and in some cases mid-market. Those organizations, and we've all seen it, their IT teams are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Another story I wanted to kind of share with is kind of on the other end. Very SMB, actually company that provides dairy products, milk, eggs to the education market, down in Southern California. Had 3 locations, really small IT team. In fact, really no IT team. They had one guy and he wanted to get it off of his plate. Similar scenario to some of these other ones, and a consistent theme here: multi-site, multi-product. We came in, they had 2 brick and mortar locations. They had a trailer for one of the locations, so we were able to deliver broadband services, backup 5G to the locations. I think it was about 20 UCaaS users. Another thing to kind of bring up along the UCaaS, CCaaS side of things is we have a couple different offerings in the CCaaS space. And when I think CCaaS, we're not here to try to replace, in a lot of cases, maybe Five9 or NICE or Genesys, but we have a great built-in kind of contact center product within our UCaaS platform. And we also have one that kind of takes it to the next level. So as you get into opportunities where contact centers are in play, it's really inexpensive. In a lot of cases, not all, provides the functionality that your customers are looking for. And in this case, the customer, I think the sales cycle on this was somewhere in the 60-day window. Pretty simple, couple $1,000s a month. The customer's happy. And again, back to that theme that we've been talking about, and Aaron mentioned, multi-site, multi-product, end-to-end solutions is really where we shine. One other piece I'll throw out, and I bring this up solely because I know I've worked with and proposed it with a couple of the folks potentially on this call today, is hybrid communications. Hybrid in our world, from a telephony standpoint, is site survivability. You'll have verticals, and especially healthcare, rural hospitals, clinics, and those degree where they need survivability should their network go down. So if you run into those, and again, they're primarily healthcare, some education, but education still tends to go on-prem. Think of us, because a lot of those clients are telling us they want it. We're not selling them on that concept, because you have plenty of folks that still to this day aren't 100% convinced the full pure cloud is the way to go. So again, just wanted to share those couple of different stories. Aaron and I worked together on one of them, and then I worked on the other one, but excited to work with everybody. And, thank you for your time today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Mindy or Jennifer, is there any questions that have popped up?
There we go. We've got some questions here for you. First one is, who is the ideal customer for Sangoma today, and who is not a good fit?
Aaron, Jim, you want to?
I can go first. When Jim pretty much nailed it, right? The perfect customer, lots of locations, small IT team, right? And that customer, typically their big pain point is they can't do it all. So they have to partner with someone like Sangoma that can come in and be an extension of their IT team, right? And when we're able to come in and do the entire stack, the network, the voice, and the security, right? Not only is it easier for the customer, as I'd mentioned, but it allows us to provide a better service. We have visibility into the entire network stack, right? And it makes us accountable for the solution, right? You don't have that finger pointing that you do when you're taking your voice to, name your UCaaS provider and your internet from someone else, and someone else is managing the firewalls, right? And someone picks up the phone and it sounds like garbly gook. You don't have that with us, because if we have the entire thing, we can pinpoint the problem and be accountable for it. Yes, as Molly mentioned, we've got customers with 2 phones, and that's fine. We can do it all. Does it become a lot more competitive in that space because there's 101 other UCaaS providers? Absolutely. But when we can come in and do the entire stack, even if it's just for a single location, it allows us to differentiate. Go ahead, Jim, if you've got anything else.
No, I think you touched on it pretty good. Like I said, I sort of touched on the CX, and it's, you have to know, I've made the statement before, you have to know who you are, but also who you aren't. So we'll get into contact center environments where it's just not, it's just not a fit for us. We do have the direct routing and embedded applications in Teams, which is great, because we know some folks out there want to use Teams as the UI for their voice. But yeah, just really, I think at the end of the day, and the thing that Aaron and I do is kind of navigate through these things with you. Discovery calls, that's our role, is to bring our experience to the calls and understand what's the customer looking for, and then determine, are we a fit for you or are we not? We'd certainly, in a perfect world, every deal's qualified and we can work on it, but reality tells us it's not. So just going through that process and fully understanding what the customer's looking for. But yeah, there aren't really, I can't think of necessary, verticals that jump out, or kinds of customers that aren't a good fit. It really comes down to what's the need, and can we meet it?
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
The next question is, how is AI making Sangoma successful?
Patrick,
Yeah, I was
that
going to
might
say,
be
kick that one to Patrick.
That's a great
Patrick
question.
might answer that one.
Yeah, so great question. So we've been integrating AI for, well, the past year and change now. A lot of transcription is where we started, and we're blowing that up to be including other things. We've got Gordon Ramsay's restaurants, for instance, across the United States. They have what I would call it started out as an IVR, and they asked us, hey, can we create an AI assistant that'll direct calls based on what you're looking for, take orders, and things like that. And we spun that up custom in-house for them, and we're working on a lot of different things like that for general availability going forward. Voicemail transcription, as well as transcription of our contact center solution. So when you get a call, you as a supervisor, you know that there was a problem with this particular call. You get a summary of the entire call there, as well as the full transcript. So we are leveraging AI in a lot of different ways to make the user experience a lot better, as well as customers, the people's coming to these businesses for help.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick.
One thing to add, we also have an AI kind of center of excellence here, so that is just constantly driving AI. We've had that up for about 1.5 years as well.
Okay, next question is, how easy is it to migrate from legacy PBX or another UCaaS provider?
Depends. I mean, we've been doing this a long time, right? As I mentioned earlier, we actually own Asterisk. So for those of you that have been in the voice game for a while, you go to asterisk.org, you start clicking around, you're going to find yourself on the Sangoma webpage. So we are experts at this. When I say it depends on the customer, right? Some customers have their ducks in a row. They've got their DIDs. They know who the authorized users are, right? They're ready to rock and roll. Other customers, they have no idea what they have. So, and we work with both of them. So we can come in and do a deep dive and help the customer, right? Figure out what they have and what they need, and then we can all do it the opposite way, right? Where they already know what they have. But in either scenario, and it doesn't matter the size and scope of the customer, they're getting a dedicated project manager, a live person, right? So we're not just giving them a portal and saying, do it yourself, watch this video. You could have 2 phones, 1 location. They're getting a project manager. They can have 20,000 phones, 2,000 locations. They're getting a project manager, different caliber of project manager, but nonetheless, they're getting a live person.
I'll dovetail off of that. Yeah, I mean, it's just about, I think, in this part of the sales process, setting expectations. And I'll say this out loud, understanding where agreements and contracts are. a lot of your customers that are on-prem today have either SIP trunks or old school PRIs coming into a system, and maybe not used to the monthly expense. So that's part of the process. But setting those expectations, timelines, so that they understand, what's involved from their end. And Aaron touched on that really well. Yeah, it's you run into all shapes and sizes. It might be a situation. In fact, Patrick and I are working on one right now. Large, 400 or 500 phones, and they're reusing a bunch of Polycom VVX, I forget the models, Patrick, 300s, 310s, 400s. Anyway, the moral of the story is we already went in, pre-kickoff call, got one of their phones, tested it at, factory reset it, upgraded it, did everything so that we're prepared. We know when we get to that point where we're starting to deploy these branch locations that we've been through the exercise with the customer already. So I think setting expectations, being transparent, is key. And I know that's a general statement, but that's an important part of Aaron's job and my job, working alongside you.
One more thing to add that I don't think we mentioned. We actually roll trucks as well. So we have our own techs, and whether it's installing and extending an MPO for a circuit or plugging in the SD-WAN, the firewalls, running cabling for the Wi-Fi access point, or even plugging in the phones, right? We can do all of that for the customers, right? We don't just have to ship it to them and say, plug it in, and plug and pray. We can do the whole thing for them.
Plug and pray. I like that.
All right, next question. If a customer is using Digium already, what can we upsell?
So if they're using Digium today, there's a couple different, and I get a lot of inbound inquiries so I run across quite a few of these. There's a couple different things. A current Digium, if you hear Digium, you might hear Switchvox. Those are one and the same. Couple things. We have a cloud product. It's not something that Aaron and I work on specifically, but we have a Switchvox cloud product. So if they're just looking to go straight from Digium Switchvox prem to cloud, we can align them with the right folks there. Or maybe it's, in some cases, you'll get a situation where they're on Switchvox and maybe they want to look at one of our other solutions or product. Maybe it's hybrid, maybe it's cloud. Aaron and I would get involved in those particular scenarios and help the customer out. So there's a migration prem to cloud on Switchvox, or we can talk to them about some of the other, options we have or products we have to layer on top of what they currently have.
And it could be a situation where, there's some limitations to the Digium platform that they're using, right? There's some scalability on that platform could be an issue. So depending on what they want and what they need, it could be a platform migration. But keep in mind, it's still in house, right? We own the DIDs, right? It's all of our licensing. We're not having to pay Cisco or BroadSoft or whoever for licensing. Everything's done in house. So no matter what they need, we have a direction to take them and kind of just meet them where they want to be met.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you answering those questions. Mindy, is there anything else out there?
We have one final question. What does a typical deployment look like from contract to go live?
Yeah, definitely. So we will do it depends on their time frame for sure, and how quickly they're needing it. I've had someone call me and be like, I need this deployed ASAP, and we've got a contract signed and ready to go, with stuff shipping by the end of the week. So it just depends on how many locations, what it is, going from there. But initially what happens is you guys will reach out to us. I will get, Aaron, Jim, or Carrie involved. Patrick is pretty much CC'd on all of my emails when it comes to any kind of solutions. We like to do a discovery call to make sure we are a fit, bring, our expertise to the table. And then essentially we go to quoting that, after discovery and, moving forward with that. Again, Aaron did mention every deal has a project manager, whether it's an SMB or a large enterprise with multiple locations. So we tend to go based off of what the end user is needing and how quickly they're needing it, and then what that deployment looks like. But it tends to be very quick, very smooth transition, from the time that you bring us to the time that we do an install.
And we can always get temporary numbers and forward.
Yep.
I mean, if it's one of those crucial situations, I think we all know porting is the the piece that takes the time. So if it's an urgent situation, we can address it. But I think otherwise the typical, I've always used, and I haven't really changed over the years, that 30 to 45 day window, maybe closer to 30, but seems realistic. But again, we're flexible.
And then one thing to add as well, if it's a larger scope opportunity where it's not just voice and there's some network and multiple locations or whatnot, the project manager will work with you guys and the customer to create a customized implementation plan. So really, if there's urgent needs from the customer, like, hey, we're out of contract, right? They're going to auto renew on us, or hey, our pricing's good, doubling, in 60 days, we need to get off, or hey, this site's new, we need it up and running, or this one's out of bandwidth, right? Whatever the pain point is for the customer, we create that customized implementation plan based around their needs and their timelines.